Across 4 decades, Zlatan Ibrahimović maintained a statistical pace that few in the history of the sport can match. He finished his career with over 570 goals, 34 trophies, and league titles in 4 different countries. He also left a trail of chaos. He headbutted teammates, insulted his managers, and once sat in a locker room as a pair of scissors shattered against the concrete wall behind his head, thrown by a furious teammate. The public often sees only the caricature, a striker who refers to himself in the third person and projects total invincibility. This theatrical persona hides the reality of the man behind the goals. His arrogance and his hostility functioned as the psychological engine of his career. Without that specific friction, he likely would have never survived the 24 years required to reach these numbers. That friction began in Rosengård. This immigrant-heavy housing estate in Malmö was part of Sweden's Miljonprogram, a place often stigmatized by the rest of the country. Ibrahimović grew up in a fractured home. His parents divorced when he was a toddler, his father struggled with the trauma of the Bosnian War, and the household was frequently under the scrutiny of social services. He survived by adopting a rigid personal code. To get respect, he had to be 5 times better than everyone else. He decided early on that he would out-train and outwork every other player on the pitch just to be noticed. This translated into an early career defined by brilliance and aggression. He was a teenager who could win games single-handedly, but he was also the boy who headbutted a teammate during training, leading to a petition to have him banned from his club. The Zlatan ego is the protective armor of a child who learned to weaponize his own anger to avoid going under. At Ajax, his supreme confidence powered his rise. He produced moments of individual genius that seemed impossible, like his solo run past 5 defenders to score against Breda, a goal that announced him to the world. Even then, he remained volatile. He clashed with his teammates constantly, once threatening to break his captain's legs following a dispute during an international friendly. In Italy, his game became more clinical. Stints at Juventus and Inter Milan transformed him from a flashy prospect into a winning machine, capable of carrying entire teams on his back. He thrived under managers like Jose Mourinho, who gave him the tactical freedom his ego demanded. In this environment, he secured 3 consecutive Serie A titles and established himself as the league's most dominant force. When the system revolved around him, his ego served as an unstoppable engine for winning trophies. In 2009, Ibrahimović moved to Barcelona. His unmanageable ego entered a dressing room governed by a system built specifically for the quiet dominance of Lionel Messi. The friction was immediate. To accommodate Messi in a central role, the manager changed the formation, stripping Zlatan of the freedom he needed to succeed on the pitch. The fallout with Pep Guardiola was catastrophic. Zlatan later compared the situation to buying a Ferrari only to drive it like a diesel Fiat. He eventually confronted Guardiola in the dressing room, calling the coach a spineless coward. The same psychological traits that made him a god in Italy made him an ungovernable liability in a system he could not control. He sought a club he could build in his own image, and he found it in 2012 with Paris Saint-Germain. He positioned himself as the architect of their new Qatari-backed era. He dominated French football, winning 4 consecutive league titles while releasing a stream of hyper-arrogant quotes that defined his public myth. He famously claimed that a World Cup without him was not worth watching. This persona was carefully curated. His ghostwriter, David Lagercrantz, later admitted that many of those iconic Zlatanisms were actually polished creations designed to enhance the legend. This literary bravado served as another layer of the Rosengård armor, projecting an image of absolute invincibility to the world. Despite calling himself the foundation of the PSG project, Ibrahimović never won the Champions League with the club. It remained the only major trophy to elude him. The project eventually reached its goal without him. In May 2025, PSG finally secured the Champions League title and then successfully retained it in 2026. Zlatan's public response was uncharacteristically brief. He posted only 3 words: "Congrats, PSG." That understated reaction reveals the vulnerability beneath the persona. The man who styled himself as the architect had to watch the building reach completion long after he had been asked to leave. He found a different form of success during his return to AC Milan. His violent temperament was redirected into leadership, helping a young squad find its footing. At age 40, he played through a ruptured ACL for 6 months, refusing surgery until he had helped the club secure their first Serie A title in over a decade. Today, he remains a polarizing presence in the AC Milan boardroom. As an advisor to the club's ownership, he continues to operate with the same combative edge that defined his playing days. The legendary striker and the kid from Rosengård are the same person. The volatility that nearly ended his career at 15 was the same fire that kept him winning at 41.